Alright, what's up YouTube? I'm my boy Giovanni. He just came with some spice today. Beat my ass, but it was cool though. I'll catch him outside. Alright, tell me what you came up with today, man.
Alright, so this is going to be Shenron Veggie Hand Heat. Alright, so the idea of the deck is to basically, on the early game, kind of establish a board off with the Veggie Package, and then towards your late game, bring out the Broly and start mitigating combos between him, your big Broly, and your KOs. So yeah, ready for me to start off?
Go ahead, man. Do your thing.
All right. So first thing we're gonna start off here is with the Dragon Ball package over here. Gotta have 7. I picked 5 of the 1-star of the regular Dragon Ball, and then 1 1-star and 1 2-star. The 1-star is for early. Is for on your opening, because you can always get it first turn, so it guarantees first turn trap dust shoot for your Yu-Gi-Oh players. Bringing them down from 6 to 5 on their hand just helps them get awkward, gets them like an awkward thing, and it makes them have to charge pretty awkwardly as well. And 2 stars because we do not like, what's his face? His name? Not Mass Sam, not the Black Mass Sam, but because we don't like early game aggression when I can't get a hold of our Crisis Crusher.
Okay.
So we want to make sure to just be able to remove that on thing, but we still want to be able to keep energy. And this is a good play to use when you don't want to tap out for Kappa on turn 2, especially against decks like Storm.
Okay.
So, moving on to our Desire cards, we run 3 of Child's Wish and 2 of World Peace.
Okay.
Child's Wish, again, is for our early game. Like, it's very easy for you to end up pitching out cards, because a lot of cards here have a zero cost. In fact, the only one that doesn't is going to be our good friend Broly over here in the back. But so it's very easy to pitch off what you need whenever you need it, or you can pitch it off with your 1-star ball, and you just bring it back out. And with our Shenron leader, we can just kind of respam that over and over and over.
Okay.
World pieces towards the later game, especially once we start getting towards our 4 to 6 energy. And if they manage to get to that point, it helps you get through really quickly. And bringing out KO for free is very, very, very nice. It helps wipe the board and keep control over it, especially against decks such as like the Shenron Veggies, because they will easily overwhelm you if you don't handle it.
Okay.
And we don't like that.
Alright, what's next?
Okay, so on to our last little bit of our black cards. We have 3 Crisis Crusher Son Goku. I kind of built this deck in mind that I would see a lot more Storm, and tapping out on turn 2 against Storm is almost suicidal. So if you open up with this, you get to mitigate some of that damage because that Bardock can't attack on you. And same thing with their red intensifying trunks, and same thing with the red Kaba, all those blue cards. Basically, any of those kind of cards that would basically kind of get in the way. You want to make sure that you can't get a hold of them. And Mass Sand as well, because again, we hate that card because it helps us, it prevents us from being able to use Child's Wish and going into our Kaba.
Okay.
And losing 2 cards every turn kind of hurts when it comes through. So,
okay.
Last one is for Dragon Radar. If we can't get a hold of if we run out of, what's the word for it? If we need to reuse any of our 1 or 2-star Dragon Balls, or need to get a hold of our Desire cards pretty quickly, this will get it in the event that we can't tap out for our Spirited Search Trunks,
okay.
And just make some recur those kind of cards later on. And this is especially good for your 1-star ball combos when you need to like have a low hand, but you don't want to tap out for like Broly.
Alright, what's next?
Okay, so next thing we're going to go to is our Veggie Package. And of course, this is standard for Kaba, for Khalifa, for Kale. But
okay.
we do not run any of the red. I didn't like it because it made you break too far into red and green, and when you really need to kind of focus on green energy with that from the main line, you kind of end up having to spend a great bit, and you just don't have any type of defense at the same time. So it's incredibly aggressive. It just wasn't for me, and I just didn't like the idea of not being able to have an answer to something when it comes through.
Alright.
So you just stick with their standard 4. Kaba is very good because it helps search out your Kale, which is one of your main combo pieces for this deck, and it also brings Khalifa on board, and that can in itself help prevent from having this do this keep Kale from having to cut off your board when you don't want to, especially like if you don't have your royal pieces or your Child's Wish in hand, you don't want to lose your field presence like that. So having this on board can help with that in later on. Plus, it's a 20k body that takes from your life, so it's giving you resources and replenishing itself, but still putting on pressure at the same time, which is really nice. Kale, like I said, she is one of the main combo pieces of this deck. Being able to wipe the board is just incredibly nice for this deck, even against other Shenron based decks. So having that empty board, I guess, lets you allow field presence, and you just keep getting draws because you don't really keep a large hand in this one. Like my normal hand size is going to be around 4 to 6, so you almost always get the maximum effect out of this card's value.
Alright.
Afterwards, we're going to move to our little extra green spice. Like, we have our full powered energies. Again, because I really don't like Storm, and this is standard. A green deck.
Yeah, standard.
Like, without it, we will probably just flat out auto lose to any form of Storm. Okay. And especially also aggression, so red, blue, any deck that can basically put a great deal of aggression on you pretty quickly.
Alright, and what else?
So next onto that, super combos, pretty standard. 4 of our trunks. It's very easy for us to get about 5 to 6 on turn 1, so they're always live when you get it.
Yeah, that's standard nowadays.
Yeah. Moving on to this, it's Super Saiyan Vegeta, 2 of it. We use it because it's a green card, so it helps with the green energy, and it's able to snipe out tall threats. So if you run into Perfect Force Cell and you need to get that off the board pretty quickly, it's a good way of getting rid of that.
Okay, cool.
Can't handle barrier cards, but honestly, by that point, if they're doing barrier, we're not going to really worry about it too much.
All right. And Trunks?
Trunks is our other way of recurring. We can't always rely on Dragon Radar, and sometimes it's just not lucrative. And in some cases, we don't want to use these. This helps on the early game to put these in a dump, especially against Storm when we can't afford to tap out for these type of energy. And secondly, it helps us recur these in a later game once these are used up, or if they're in the worst case events, if they're in our life. Okay. Plus, Child's Wish in this kind of form, like have a very decent loop with them, where you can just kind of play your Child's Wish, get it back, and then add the Child's Wish back to your hand, so it makes it where you have essentially 2 cards for free.
All right. And last little bit.
The last bit is our small little Broly package. Endless Evolution Broly. This is our other way of being able to deal with early threats, but it's not what it's mainly here for. That's kind of more of a benefit. Its big one is because if we need to start applying early pressure for it, it can evolve for 3 and make your Broly 6 drop come out pretty quickly. It's also like easy to pull out with your Child's Wish, so it makes that free. You can tap your 3 out on turn 3 and then make another Broly, and then proceed to go and to make them dropping 2 cards in their hand. And then last one is our Broly, the last big combo piece of this deck. These two have a pretty nice synergy with each other, where you can just kind of play this out with your where you have this out on, if you have this out on board, or if you already play this out with World Peace, you can just kind of play it and then proceed to drop this one, especially with your Kales on there for relatively small energy cost, and then World Peace it back and cost off 4 cards from their hand. Okay. I don't particularly use that much because it is energy heavy, but when those little moments come, it's very good. This is also the card that I tend to use for Shenron's Remove 7 effect, to go for your for your triple attack and go for game with it, because at that point you're pushing for 6 damage, and most decks tend to life themselves out to 6 or at least to 4. So at that point, when you drop that out, you're ready to be within lethal range. It's just a matter of handling their hand at that point. Now let's try and go to our sideboard, shall we? Now, sideboard is kind of weird. I haven't really worked out the bugs on that one, but so far this is how I like it. Okay. We're going to start off with our 2 King Vegeta surprise attack. It's a good way to give me revenge if they're attacking our combo pieces a lot, especially if they're going for our Kales or our Khalifas and they're not really running it for that on the aggression. This is a good way of kind of surprising that, and it's also a good way of dealing with deadly defenders at the same time, because they tend to want to go into battle cards with that.
Alright, what else?
2 Kranoa because I don't like Shugesh.
Alright.
Enough said. Kami for Shenron Veggies. That deck tends to outswarm me. Ironically enough, the one deck I chose I didn't like, it ends up being one of the decks that kind of hurt me the most.
What's up?
Mass Sand against most Shenron decks and other Veggie decks, and Enchain is Xeno because we don't like those as well. Deadly Defender is another one of our big plays to go with that King Vegeta surprise attack. They're forced to go into this when they want to go for your leader, so they're going to attack for it, and that turns into a 25k revenge, so they end up losing about 2 to 3 cards a turn with it. And then our last one is Shenron. Shenron's there when I don't need your Vegetas, if they're not putting anything on the board, but I want to actually kind of utilize that presence. His place is kind of iffy with me right now, but it's working so far for me, so I'll just let it go and slide.
Alright. That's Giovanni with the, what you want to call it? Shenron?
I'm going to call this Shenron Veggie Hand Hate.
Alright. Appreciate it, man. JCT, and I'm out.